New Year's Eve is supposed to be about fresh starts. But that night, I was counting my breaths. Because death was standing right in front of my car, smiling at me. New Year's Eve. Fireworks. Champagne. People laughing. For me, it became the night I almost died. This happened about 7 or 8 years ago. I was driving home from a party with my ex-girlfriend. It was well past midnight. The city felt empty, like everyone had vanished after the countdown. Earlier that day, it had snowed. The roads were icy, slick, dangerous. Driving that night was already a stupid idea, but we didn't have a choice. There were no places left to sleep at the party. She was half asleep in the passenger seat. I had the heater blasting and loud rock music playing to keep myself awake. We were about 10 minutes from her house when it happened. 1 second the road ahead was completely empty. The next second, there was a woman standing in the middle of the street. She wasn't crossing. She wasn't running. She was just standing there, facing my car. My brain froze. I slammed on the brakes before I even understood what I was seeing. Then I noticed her hand. She was holding a knife. A huge kitchen knife. The kind you carve a turkey with. My headlights hit her face directly. Her expression was twisted, like she was crying, screaming, or both at the same time. It was disturbing. Sickening. I yanked the steering wheel to the right to avoid hitting her. And that's when she lunged at my car. I heard the impact before I processed it. She had swung the knife at my windshield. Ice plus sudden turn equals disaster. The tires lost grip. We started spinning. My girlfriend woke up screaming. I gripped the steering wheel like it could save us, but I had no control. The car spun a full 180 degrees and stopped. We were now facing the direction we came from. Which meant we were facing her. She was about 30 feet away, still holding the knife. My headlights lit her up like a scene from a horror movie. And she was limping toward us. Not slow. Not fast. Just wrong. She was screaming something, but it wasn't words. It sounded like an animal. Raw. Guttural. The most terrifying sound I've ever heard. My girlfriend screamed at me to drive. But I was frozen. I couldn't stop staring. Her clothes were torn and dirty. Her hair was matted. Her eyes. There was nothing behind them. No emotion. No humanity. She looked like a walking corpse. When she was about 15 feet away, my survival instincts finally kicked in. I threw the car into drive and slammed the gas. The tires spun on ice for a second. Then caught. We moved. For one moment I thought we escaped. I was wrong. Suddenly, she was on the hood. The entire car shook. My girlfriend was screaming. I was swearing. And the woman. She was clinging to my hood with one hand. And stabbing my windshield with the other. Over. And over. And over. I swear she was trying to break in. Her face was inches from the glass. And her eyes. They were locked on mine. Like she was looking straight into my soul. I started swerving left and right as hard as I could. She slid across the hood. But she wouldn't let go. She kept screaming that horrible sound. On the third swerve, her grip slipped. I watched her roll off the hood and smash into the pavement. She slid into the shoulder and stopped moving. The car fishtailed again. But I managed to keep control this time. I checked the rearview mirror. She wasn't moving. For a second, I thought about stopping. What if she was just mentally ill? What if I killed her? My girlfriend grabbed my arm. "Don't stop," she said. "We need to leave." She was shaking. I said we should call the police. She refused. She said they'd blame us because we'd been drinking. She said we'd get arrested. Looking back, none of it made sense. But in that moment, I believed her. So I drove away. And I left her there. The damage to my car wasn't even that bad. Cracked windshield. Knife marks on the driver's side window. Scratches on the hood. No blood. Not a single drop. I got it fixed a week later. But the guilt stayed for months. I checked the news every day. A missing woman. A body found. An accident report. Nothing. It was like she never existed. Part of me wonders if she got up and walked away. Part of me doesn't want to know. The worst part? My girlfriend. 2 days later. She acted like nothing happened. Making plans. Going out. Laughing. I brought it up once. She got annoyed. Told me I was being dramatic. That we did what we had to do. I stared at her and thought. How can you be so cold? A woman tried to kill us. We might have killed her. And you're just, moving on. We broke up a few months later. For other reasons. But that night changed how I saw her forever. Maybe I'm crazy. But that's not something you forget. Not in 2 days. Not ever. Someone almost killed me. I might have killed someone. That stays with you. Every New Year's Eve. When I hear fireworks. I remember her face. Her eyes. Her scream. And I wonder. Did she survive? Some people disappear on New Year's Eve. But what if they were never really there? What if they were only passing through your life? For one night. From somewhere else. Last New Year's Eve, I went out with my two closest friends in New York City. We started at my friend's apartment, drinking and joking, then headed to a rooftop party in Williamsburg. It was one of those trendy places, string lights, loud music, overpriced drinks, everyone dressed like they were in a commercial. Around 11:30 p.m., I noticed her. She was standing alone near the bar. Not on her phone. Not talking to anyone. Just watching the crowd. Something about her energy pulled me in. I don't know how else to explain it. So I walked up and introduced myself. We hit it off immediately. She was funny, confident, easy to talk to. Within 5 minutes, she dragged me onto the dance floor. We laughed, danced, and kissed right when the countdown hit 0. Happy New Year. Her name was Mitra. I remember asking her to repeat it because I'd never heard it before. She laughed and said people just called her Maitri because it was easier. She even wrote it on my hand with a pen so I wouldn't forget. Around 12:30 a.m., she asked if I wanted to leave. We grabbed an Uber back to my place. I'll skip the details, but it was a great night. Afterward, we stayed up talking for hours. And this is important, because I remember everything about her. She was from San Diego. She was a painter, used to do graffiti and murals. Her middle name was Mia. She had 2 cats, Mia and Cosmo. Her birthday was April 28th. Her dad was a patent lawyer. Her best friend grew up in a tiny town in Germany. Random details. But I remember them clearly. At some point, she said her clothes smelled like alcohol, so I threw them in the washer for her. She borrowed one of my shirts and we fell asleep. When I woke up, she was gone. At first, I didn't think much of it. People leave after hookups. But then, I noticed something impossible. My front door was locked. You can only lock it from the outside with a key. Which meant either she somehow locked it without a key, or she never left. Both impossible. My apartment is small. 1 bedroom. 1 bathroom. No second exit. Windows barely open. I searched everywhere. Closet. Shower. Kitchen. Nothing. Her clothes were gone from the dryer. The shirt I lent her was gone too. She was here. But she vanished. I stood there feeling like my brain was breaking. Worse. I never got her number. No Instagram. No Snapchat. Nothing. She didn't exist online. That afternoon, I randomly felt the urge to call my best friend Garrett. No reason. Just a weird feeling. We caught up, joked about New Year's, work, life. Then he went quiet. He told me he met a girl the night before. Same story. Hit it off. Went back to his place. She left in the morning. No number. No contact. I laughed. Told him the exact same thing happened to me. Then he said her name. Mitra. My stomach dropped. I asked him to describe her. Everything matched. San Diego. Painter. Graffiti. Cats named Mia and Cosmo. Birthday April 28th. I cut him off. Does she have a cat named Mia? He went silent. Yeah. He had pictures. He sent them. It was her. The exact same girl. Here's the part that destroys my mind. Garrett lives in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is 13 hours ahead of New York. He met her at 11 p.m. Hong Kong time. I met her at 11:30 p.m. New York time. There's no way she could have flown from Hong Kong to New York that fast. Not even close. Even if she ran to the airport immediately. She wouldn't make it. The math didn't work. It was physically impossible. We tried to explain it. Maybe twins. But every detail matched. Maybe she lied. But why use the same exact story? Why target both of us? From two sides of the world. We searched her name online. Nothing. No profiles. No art pages. No trace. Like she never existed. And here's what terrifies me. She didn't just disappear. She never left. Locked door. No exits. It was like she faded out of reality. Sometimes I wonder. Did we meet a ghost? A glitch? Something that wears human skin for one night. Every New Year's Eve now. I think about her. Her smile. Her laugh. And I wonder. How many men has she met? How many beds has she slept in? Across the world. On the same night. Some lights don't come from the sky. They don't come from houses. They come from nowhere. And when you see them, something always disappears. This story isn't mine. It's my father's. He told it to me when I was older, but I could tell. Even after all these years. It still haunted him. Before my parents had kids, they traveled a lot. My dad made some smart business moves in his mid-20s, so they had money and free time. They loved skiing, and since the only good skiing near New York was in Vermont, they bought a few lodges up there over the years. The first one was an old place with black shutters. They bought it from a man named Mr. Black. My dad jokingly called it the Black House. Later, they switched to another lodge. This one was right off Route 100, near what locals called the Lake District. 5 lakes in a row, frozen solid every winter. The house sat directly on the edge of one of them. My dad and his friend Victor co-owned it. They'd go up together all the time. Ski. Drink. Relax. This happened on New Year's Eve. My mom and Victor's wife were away at a wedding or something, so it was just the two of them. 2 old friends. Snow falling outside. Beer in hand. Music playing softly. They were upstairs, sitting by massive windows that looked out over the frozen lake. My dad said it was one of the most peaceful nights of his life. Snow drifting down. Radio on. Waiting for the Times Square countdown. Then. Everything changed. Out of nowhere. A blinding flash of light. Not from the sky. From the lake. A huge white explosion of light shot upward. No sound. No boom. Just light. So bright my dad said he had to look away. His first thought was fireworks. But it wasn't fireworks. Fireworks don't come from the ground. Victor jumped up and rushed to the window. My dad asked what he saw. Victor said. I think something's moving out there. At first my dad thought he was drunk. But then he looked too. And after a few seconds, he saw it. A small figure. Standing on the ice. A child. About 20 or 30 yards from shore. My dad told him it was impossible. There were no houses on the other side of the lake. No trails. No roads. Just woods. But Victor was convinced. He started putting on his coat and boots. Said he was going to check. My dad tried to stop him. But Victor was already halfway down the stairs. So my dad followed. They burst out onto the deck. That's when they heard it. A child's voice. Help. Over. And over. Help. The lake had been frozen for months. Solid ice. No danger of falling through. Without thinking, they started walking onto the lake. As they got closer, they could see the kid more clearly. Small. Standing still. My dad said he could see his silhouette against the snow. Then, the light flashed again. Even brighter. My dad dropped to his knees. Shielded his eyes. For a few seconds, he couldn't see anything. Total white blindness. When his vision came back, the child was gone. Just empty ice. No footprints. No movement. Nothing. That's when fear hit them. Real fear. They turned around and started running back toward the house. My dad said he was slipping, barely keeping his balance. Victor was ahead of him. Suddenly Victor stopped. Pointed at the house. And screamed. "There's someone in the window." A kid. My dad looked. But he saw nothing. Just dark glass. Snow reflections. Victor swore he saw a child standing there. Watching them. They ran inside. Locked the doors. Searched the entire house. Every room. Every closet. Nothing. No one. They didn't talk about it. They just went to bed. My dad said they didn't even realize midnight passed. That night, my dad woke up twice. Both times, he heard a child laughing somewhere in the house. Soft. Faint. Mocking. He stayed frozen in bed. Too scared to move. By morning, everything was quiet. No signs of anyone. No footprints. No broken locks. They cut the trip short and went home. Years later, my dad and Victor still talked about it. Tried to explain it. Lightning. Fireworks. A flare. Nothing made sense. Because there was no sound. And no source. Just light. And a child. That vanished. When my dad finished telling me this story, I asked him something. "Do you think it was supernatural?" He went quiet. Then said, "I don't know what else it could be." 3 stories. 3 New Year's Eve nights. A woman with a knife. A girl who existed in 2 places. A child who vanished in a flash of light. People celebrate new beginnings. But some people only remember what they lost. Or what almost killed them. So this year, when the clock hits midnight, and fireworks explode, ask yourself, who else is watching?